Welcome to the Hard and Soft Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Yo. What's up, Hard and Soft Podcast Nation? We're back at it again. We've taken a little bit of time off, been a little busy with the schedules, but you know who you're rolling with. It's Big Hard. And you know, my tag team partner, not only just in life, and that's a shoot, brother, the big softy, Randall. It's good, rainy over there.
I don't know what I do that like every other episode. It's me, the Strut Daddy, because I am that Strut Daddy, the OG, the BIGSOFTIE, the big softy here in the Soft Studios. And I just want to welcome the millions
and millions.
I feel like we could do that anyway. We should do that at like out to dinner or something.
Well, I mean,
you think people would get behind?
Don't we? Don't we usually do that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I mean,
the millions of Hard and Soft Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, you didn't choose Joe Rogan. You didn't choose Grilling JR. You chose Hard and Soft, and that's
Hard
a
and
fact,
soft, baby.
Jack.
And that's a shoot.
Brother. What's up, Big Hard, man? How are you?
Oh, man. You know, just living life. Just doing my thing. You know, we're fresh off of going to see Monday Night Raw live in Philly. What an eventful night that was. Good times had. Always at a wrestling show. We also have a pretty good landscape going on right now, going into Survivor Series War Games. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. And plus the match we're here to watch today, Hell in a Cell. This is at Bad Blood. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. It's a pretty recent match, but it was really good, and it's going to be good to go back and watch it again. I saw it that first night live, not live in person, live on TV on the Peacock. Yeah, it's going to be great to watch it again right here.
It's what the kids call nowadays the meat and potatoes of the episode. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. What a feud. Hard and Soft's going to give our take on it and then press play on that Fang. If you got your Peacock loaded like the professionals in the room do, we're 16-minute flats of this year's Bad Blood, hosted by Metro Boomin. I like when did you see those promos by Triple H and Cody? They're in the
parking lot.
Metro, you know, dude. That was good, dude.
Yeah, Triple H is pretty good at those things.
Before we get there, let's recap, like you said, kind of where we're at. And speaking of Triple H, hey man, it turns out when you spend your whole life in something, you're pretty damn good at it. And I don't care what you say, Booker shouldn't be the world champion. Booker shouldn't be whatever. Triple H needs to go in that Hall of Fame. And it needs to go now. Like, he needs to do it. Get in there, man, as a single, as Triple H, the game. He's as Hall of Fame as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing great stuff. And the game, he's come a long way from – his early days coming in as Hunter Hearst Helmsley or terrorizing in WCW and coming in and doing a lot of stuff that he probably didn't want to do, getting jobbed out when the whole, what was it called?
The curtain call.
The curtain call happened, kind of getting jobbed out there, kind of streamlined Austin though, because that was pretty much the best thing to happen to him. That promo after that match was just amazing. And, now he's here as the Booker, and storytelling is at its best right now. I mean, just one fact of last night, Randy Orton got taken out from KO from a pile driver.
Yeah, what'd you think of that, Big Hard?
That was pretty good. And it wasn't even like a devastating package pile driver. It wasn't a pile driver off the top rope. It wasn't some kind of Canadian destroyer. It was just a regular old pile driver.
Right. And
they sold it like it was an actual move. Like back in the day, Jerry Lawler, that was his finish, the pile driver. Now they do tombstone pile drivers just for a spot in the match. They'll do it on the outside and the guy gets right back up. So it was pretty cool seeing that. They did a pretty good job. I mean, you do have to suspend your disbelief just to, believe that Orton was that hurt off of that move. But it was good storytelling, and I hope they write him off TV for a little bit, maybe come back at Survivor Series,
And
whatever
this is what
Kevin Owens going to be doing.
yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like Triple H knows where to use stuff. We're going to get into this match. The color was beautifully used with Punk and Drew. But yeah, no one predicted that we're going to see a pile driver on last night's SmackDown, but it fit so well. It fit well, just like KO coming out in a Cowboy Bob Orton shirt.
Yeah, that was great.
Like, KO's got a great mind. He's been in the wrestling business forever. So has Randy. Triple H has a way of going a certain way with a certain rivalry that you might not fully get behind, and then sinking you in, right? And I think last night you had the crown jewel thing with KO and Randy, and then you had the pile driver spot where Cody's in the ambulance with Randy. Randy was selling it so well. You're wondering how it's going to shape up, right? And anytime you can get wrestling marks involved and wondering what's going to happen next, you know it's good stuff. And Hunter's unreal. Let's move on. What did you think of Sammy, the bloodline, the band's back together, the roller coaster we've been on there? What did you think of how all of that was booked so far?
I thought it was really good last night. I thought they were going to play this out a little bit more because there's still about 3 more SmackDowns until War Games. So I didn't know that they were actually going to throw the ones up last night with Sami Zayn, but there still is story to tell here. They did throw the ones up. It was cool in the beginning. Sammy's trying to get him to apologize to Jay. And Roman's just like his acting. He doesn't even have to wrestle in matches, man. I mean, just his facial expressions and the way that he carries himself. I mean, I'll tell you, that's a man's man right there. Damn. But
he's gonna
like when at the end, when Sami came out and he's looming, and then the Usos come, they run past him. They still are getting taken down. Solo calls for his dog, Sammy, to come down and give Roman the haluva kick. And just the tension on his face, he didn't know where to go. And then he just nails Solo. And just at the end, both Usos putting their ones up. And then Sammy basically getting right in Roman's face, just throwing his up. And Roman did the same thing. And great storytelling. And I think they still have – I don't think next week it's going to be all, we're best friends again. There's still going to be some tension in there because, almost if you notice it, like Sammy and Roman are in the middle, but Jay is on Sammy's side, Jimmy's on Roman's side. They still have some stuff to work out. And even in the beginning of the show, where there was a backstage segment where Jay said to Roman, he's like, I told you not to talk to me like that. That's your free pass.
Right.
And then he walked off. So it's like there's still tension in the air, but I think they're all coming back together. And I mean, it was like they were trying not to laugh with Sammy last night. I mean, he can do some great stuff trying to crack these guys. Like he was trying to crack Roman. He didn't crack Roman, but Jimmy looked like he wanted to start cracking up laughing because he's like, you see, Roman, I can see that smile on your face right there. I see your smirk,
Sammy has a way to be in the ring with Jay, who is the top merch seller, Roman, who is the guy, and come out there with a zip-up, big-ass beard, not combed, hair not combed. Looks like he just got done at Planet Fitness with his New Balance black sneakers and become the star. He has just a way to – he's unreal, and I think – he's unreal. He's just a guy that takes the moment, and you can't – he can do everything. He's almost – you'll smirk at this, but he's like the modern-day Kurt Angle. Like the guy can be silly, he can be self-deprecating, he can be serious, he can work his ass off, he can sell. The haluva kick spot with Solo getting kicked in the mouth, that was so well done. The production value there was unreal. And again, it was a moment where you look in the crowd and it's this fake wrestling business, right? But you look in the crowd, it wasn't fake last night, man. Everyone was intrigued. Everyone was like, where are they going to go? What are they going to do? And the pop was unreal. Now,
real to
if
me,
if the softie is correct, War Games is 5-on-5, right? So we got 4 and 4. Do they use Raw and SmackDown over the next couple weeks to build 5-on-5? And if they do, Big Hard, who do you think?
Well, the only two people I can really think, and I really don't want Cody Rhodes to be a part of this.
Right, right.
As much as I like Cody Rhodes, I don't think he should be a part of this, but they could bring Cody with the original
Yeah.
bloodline. And then I would have to say, unless they're going to bring in another person for the new bloodline, I almost think maybe if they're going to do Cody Rhodes, they should do Kevin Owens with the with Solo's bloodline, and then you can have Randy Orton come down, maybe interfere in that match, write him off of TV for the next couple of weeks. But honestly, I would be okay with just the 4-on-4, and I don't think if it's 5-on-5, it's going to be The Rock. Rock is not coming back yet. I think he's done until the first Netflix Raw, to be honest. Right before the Royal Rumble. I honestly think, going into WrestleMania season, my number one prediction is Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble. Night 1 of WrestleMania is Cody Rhodes versus The Rock. Rock wins. Night 2, Rock versus Roman. But that's only if Rock can do 2 nights in a row, 2 singles matches in a row. Last year he looked great in that tag match last year, I will say. So I don't put it past him being able to do it.
That's interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad if it's just 4-on-4. Of course, war games, tribal warfare, like they're gonna, the bloodline versus the OG bloodline. It's got Rock all over it. I think Rock does make an appearance. I don't know if he's in the match or not, but I'll make this call. I think the build is going to be awesome. It is already awesome, and I think. Listen to the softy here. Softy's hard take here for a second, if I can be hard for a sec. Fatu. Jacob Fatu is getting over big time at Survivor Series. This is his match, his time to shine. He's going to look like a world beater that night. You're going to walk away. We'll walk away and recap it the next day and say, look at freaking the Samoan werewolf. What a shine moment for him. But it's going to be great.
That guy is awesome.
I'm just like you. I'm trying to figure out the tosses and turns of first off, the WWE Triple H is going to figure out a way to make WrestleMania 41 somehow bigger than Philly last year. Somehow they're going to figure out a way to do it. I'm thinking night 1, it's certainly going to be Punk and Seth. That's going to be huge. It's certainly my prediction that it's Brock and Gunther. We're getting that.
That would be a good match.
I think they carry this Sammy, the Usos, and the Bloodline up until Mania 2, and it's not going to have Rock or Roman involved at that point, but I think that's how they'll incorporate those guys into WrestleMania. But I actually think night 2, and it doesn't. I'm not quite 100% on this, but I think there's money in Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. I think when Randy, they've been playing him, eyeing up that world championship. He's up there with certain guys like Flair and Cena for most wins. Randy's eventually going to get a big retirement something, right? And I'm wondering where Cody fits into like the main event picture, right? I think it's going to be Rock and Roman. For the tribal chief for that red beaded necklace, and I think it's Randy and Cody for the world title night 2. I'm not 100%. I don't love that yet, but I think they'll figure out a way. Maybe that's how it shakes up. I don't know.
There's still a lot of time for that too. So, we got a lot of time to shape that up. But, it's a good time to be a wrestling fan right now. I hope everyone else is enjoying as much as I am. But, let's get down to brass tacks, man. Let's get down to why we're actually here today.
God damn it.
We got a Hell in a Cell at WWE's Bad Blood. That
was offbeat there, Big Hard.
Yeah, they missed the ball. They should have had Taylor come out and do they should have had Taylor do CM Punk's entrance here. That would have been great.
Oh, please don't get off.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we were at the Bad Blood. This was at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. We had 16,902 fans to a sold-out show. And to be honest, from start to finish, this card was pretty damn spot on. I mean, every match was good. This match, I get why they didn't end with this match because they wanted to do the whole Roman thing. But this match could have main evented any pay-per-view. I mean, this could be a WrestleMania main event right here. One of the best Hell in a Cell matches I've seen in a while without them even going outside of the cell, which is unlikely for these times. You know, there's always that spot where they bust through the cage, but this was just great. So we did have Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. Mac and Cheese only gave that a 2-star rating, but you know, Mac and Cheese, they probably didn't have 15 Canadian destroyers, and Tony Khan didn't book it. So Damian Priest versus Finn Balor, pretty good match, standard 3.25 stars. We had CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. This match right here actually got a 5-star rating.
Crazy.
So,
what do you think about that?
I'm pretty surprised, even though as good as the match was. You know, I really don't see Meltzer giving many WWE matches 5 stars. So, I mean, it's not a 6-star, you know, but maybe if it had Will Ospreay in it, it would have been a 6-star. But
and it's funny during this whole political thing. Piers Morgan, who I listened to, he figured out a way to wrap Vince McMahon's documentary and the world of pro wrestling. He mixed that in, and we had a speaking of Meltzer, Cornette, we had a little bro session with who am I thinking of? Who does Cornette hate? God damn it. He's gonna live to piss on his grave. Vince Russo. Russo versus Phil Mushnick. Going back and forth on Vince, and anyway, it just made me think of that. Go ahead, Big Hard. Keep going.
We got Nia Jax versus Bayley. A decent match. It was what it was. That was 1.75 stars. And then we had Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns versus the Bloodline in a tag team match. That got 4.25 stars, which is a pretty high rating too.
Yeah.
That match had great storytelling. It was very slow paced, but if you've seen Roman Reigns matches, they're usually very slow paced. And I mean, it's for a reason.
If you say anything about Dave, he says that he books his or he does his ratings on like not knowing where they're gonna go, right? So like that's what he attributes not giving Taker and Shawn at 25 a 5-star match. He's like, well, I knew where they were gonna go. There were tosses and turns in this main event, tosses and turns in Drew and Punk. And yeah, with Rock coming back at Bad Blood, no one probably called that.
Yeah, that was good. I totally forgot about that.
How was Roman and Cody going to work together? Again, Cody figures out a way, man. I mean, to make himself shine, and it was a great pay-per-view, and it had Triple H's, especially with the cell, right? The old school look to the cell. It wasn't that red cell that
I hate that red cell.
It was the old school cell. Not a lot of room from the ring to the mats to the cell. It was tight. It had that perfect feel. So let's do the build up into this, man. I mean, what a rivalry. Again, Triple H. He's got the finger on the pulse where there's still money there. It certainly seemed in certain points like, okay, this rivalry had ran its course, and then right away it would interject itself back into the programming, and you were there for it. Let's flash it back, dude. Let's go back to that night at SVW. I think Big Hard had an early night, but the Softy was there.
I sure did.
When Punk,
that was a year ago.
Punk came back at Survivor Series in 2023. That pop. Let's talk about it. What'd you think?
Great pop. And I didn't even get to see it till the next day because honestly, I had to get carted home. I had to have my buddy Joe Spangs take me home that night in my own car, and so that was a pretty good one. But when I got home, I put that on and then watched it back again in the morning. And I mean, there was the talks of CM Punk coming back, talks of him not coming back, and that was great because they have Randy Orton come out. And then all of a sudden, here comes CM Punk. And I don't care what anybody says. The guy might be older now, 10 years out of the wrestling business, had his issues in AEW. And I don't think all those issues were his own doing. I think it was kind of a 50-50 thing, you know. But when you hear all the stuff about him right now, he's like, nothing but genuine now. He's helping the younger stars in NXT, and I think it's a great thing that Punk came back, and I hope that he stays even like on a Legends contract eventually once he's done. But
Yeah,
he's got
dude,
so much more in the tank. And this feud was just awesome. And literally it's over a bracelet.
again,
Like,
Punk knows how to, just like Sean, I think, right? Like, okay, everything's fake, whatever. It's like, but that guy's real. Punk
yeah,
has that way to be like, he knows where that line is, and he can teeter totter on that line. I can't believe he just said that. Crazy Punk. Oh my, was he supposed to say that? This guy's real. And I
yeah,
think there's a time in guys' careers. You saw it with Taker and Hunter and Sean. Uh, where they can't rely on their bodies so much. They've been in the business 15, 20, and they have to rely on their mind. And that's what you're seeing with Punk. The guy is so smart, and Drew got himself over big time
yeah,
with this whole thing. But that pop at Survivor Series, him coming back, the way that all went down, I mean, they were literally signing contracts, and Punk went out to Gorilla. And man, that's got to be so fun. That's what wrestling is about, and it's crazy that that's how Hunter and Nick Khan and kind of how it works still.
yeah,
You know, and you saw that at WrestleMania too. Like that was supposed to be Stone Cold. They couldn't figure it out. All right, let's bring in Undertaker. But yeah, unreal. And I think the weekend before is when you had Hangman and Swerve in that hardcore death match, and it was just like, for me, I can remember being like, wow. 5 years ago, you wouldn't have had all of this great moments going on in wrestling. Like they wouldn't have brought Punk back 5 years ago, but they do now, and it's
no, yeah, it's
and,
great.
yeah, and even going forward from that, WWE has come out and confirmed that the original plans for Night One that Saturday was going to be for the World Heavyweight Championship, Punk and Seth, right? So the story we need to go back to the Royal Rumble of earlier this year in 2024. During the later stages of the Rumble, it is being reported that during the Future Shock DDT, that's at least what they're attributing the tricep injury. Drew McIntyre delivered it to CM Punk. Punk started to grab at his right triceps, kind of right after that move. And later on in the match, Punk actually eliminated Drew. So the plant was right there. And Punk obviously went on second place for the Rumble. It was slated that Cody was going to win. The Night 2 main event was up in the air. But really what happened, underlying story was, again, it was going to be Rollins and Punk, and heartbreaking fashion, Punk goes out on injury. And I think having that triceps injury, it almost boosts Punk's believability in the ring, because he's not like shielding himself from big spots and big matches. He's going out there and tearing it down with these guys, and we're certainly going to see it here at this Hell in a Cell. Punk is not like, okay, I'm injury prone, let's take it easy. He's not doing that. But again, really in a heartbreaking event, the next night after the Royal Rumble, he goes on Raw and confirms the rumors. Remember, like that Monday morning, it was like starting to buzz on social media. And he has to announce that he's going to miss this year's WrestleMania, which really was like, again, the story was Cody's going to finish the story. But there was also like Punk never main evented. And that's kind of why he left 10 years ago, whatever.
And he wanted to come back and do that.
And the main event of Mania was really the reason Punk came back to the company after, a lack of a better term, all that bad blood went down between Punk and the WWE. So Drew really sunk his teeth in at this time into this kind of heel persona, right? Like, and laid out the groundwork for the fans to get pumped about a potential Punk and Drew rivalry that was tied together with so much realism. Punk gets injured. It was by Drew. Punk eliminates Drew. Drew's happy about it, right? And he really starts digging in. So Drew began to brag about how he eliminated Satan himself and took out CM Punk, saving the WWE locker room from this crazy dude. Drew put his boots right to Punk's injured arm on that night and declared that he would, Punk declared he would rehab that injury to his arm, and McIntyre would be first on his list for his comeback. Throughout the next couple of weeks, Drew would berate CM Punk's name constantly during his promos. And again, Punk's like kind of silent at home, just rehabbing. You're not hearing much from Punk, but you're just hearing from Drew that he's happy about taking out Satan himself. God damn it.
My God.
Drew went on to win the Elimination Chamber that year. If you can remember that, that was in Perth, Australia. These international crowds, you saw it at Crown Jewel. Good Lord. Do they?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Crown Jewel shows I'm usually not too thrilled for, but this one was actually pretty good. And like I said, like you just said, the crowd was pretty damn into it. Like they were responding like they actually knew the stories. Usually when they go over there, it's just like they don't even know what's going on. They just pay for these huge matches, but they were into it for once.
So Drew, he wins the chamber, sets him up for a world title match potentially at WrestleMania, and he officially, again, it's official now. He stole the match from Punk, right? That's the story. Seth Rollins would wrestle in the main event of night one in a tag match, and would have a quick turnout, at WrestleMania. So Seth wrestles the main event and then has to wake up and go Sunday and kick off the show with Drew in the first match of night two. What a match. Let's talk about it for a second. I want to say I was there live, so maybe I'm biased. Maybe the best kickoff first match in Mania history.
It was damn good. I mean, the only other one I can think of is Bret Hart and Owen Hart. But honestly, that was great match. Great entrance. We even met one of the guys from the entrance a couple days prior to that. Didn't believe him. And, he was actually there. But great way to kick off the show. And then like a great way to just end that match with, Drew celebrating in Punk's face and Punk just taking him down. And then Damian comes in and cashes in and just takes it right away. I mean, he had the title for like 5 minutes.
Well, and of course, right, Punk is on commentary. He makes his entrance off air before the show starts. He's there on commentary, putting the match over, putting Rollins and Drew over as worthy competitors. But again, they interject Punk and Drew's story there. Drew wins the world title, as Big Hard just alluded to, but only for about 5 minutes until, Punk gets the better of Drew and the cash in happens. And what a reaction from the crowd there. So again, we're right back to Drew and Punk. Really haven't been physical. The only thing that we saw from Punk's end, he takes the arm brace off and puts it on Drew's forehead there at Mania. So the next night after WrestleMania, Punk would interfere in the number one contender match for the heavyweight championship that Drew was in against Jey Uso, right? They were going up for the number one contender for Priest's new title. Not only did Punk cost Drew the match, not cost the match at Mania, the title at Mania, and now Punk is beginning to take more and more away from McIntyre, right? McIntyre took the WrestleMania away from Drew, but now Punk's taking the title away and taking out his number one contender spot. So things with Drew and Punk would really actually start to quiet down. Drew would flat out challenge Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship later on, and the babyface Priest would oblige and grant Drew a championship match in his hometown of Scotland. Remember that at Clash at the Castle.
Yep, that was
if
good.
You remember a year prior, McIntyre was screwed at Clash of the Castle against Roman by Solo, right? So this year, quite a similar situation as Punk would interfere out of nowhere with a zebra printed shirt and low top Jordans, and he counted 1, 2, and once again, the camera gets a great facial by Punk, and
that was good.
Screws Drew out of the title yet again. So now it's going to continue to heat up, even with Punk still on the shelf, as Drew would go on to win Money in the Bank that year in that ladder match, and he would actually cash in the same night against Priest, and Punk once again hijacked the show and caused Drew to fail his cash in. Finally, Punk is cleared. Okay. The first match between the two rivals would take place at SummerSlam in Cleveland, Ohio.
That was
once
good.
Again, we watched that at SVW. Seth Rollins is now the special guest referee. Which way is this going to go? It's Punk's first match back, first singles match in WWE programming. What a build for this. There was a lot of hype. This was definitely the match of the card we were most excited about, Big Hard.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
in between this time period, you had a lot, you had the introduction of the bracelet, right? Where you had Larry and Punk's wife's name on it. I think a fan made it for Punk. Punk started to wear that. Drew bloodied up Punk and stole that same bracelet from him on an episode of SmackDown. I believe that was in Chicago. And I also believe at this time you had that photo of McIntyre and Jack Terry.
Oh yeah, going online.
Drew is just awesome at this time.
He's a great media troll.
And I think the caption was, "It's a real photo, so cry us a river." It was just great. It's awesome. I think Triple H is sitting back laughing at that. So in that match, McIntyre would use that same bracelet to distract Punk, get in his head, and pin Punk in the middle of the ring. Punk would go after McIntyre once again for the second bout at Bash in Berlin at that strap match. What do you think of the strap match, Big Art?
It was pretty good. I mean, it was a way to get Punk to win without like dominating McIntyre, because honestly, McIntyre is this huge force, and it gave CM Punk a win to get him to this Hell in a Cell match then. It's not bad. I'm not much of a fan of the strap match where you have to go and hit the four corners.
No,
it's kind of a weird concept, but it was still a good match, though.
I agree, but to Punk and Drew's credit, like the storytelling within the match sunk me in, where I was like, "Holy crap! Like this is actually turning into a great match. I wonder which way they're gonna go," and it's just how good these two are in the ring. And again, they made us. That's what the Punk has been doing in his comeback to the WWE. Sometimes his matches start and you're like, not there, and Punk draws you in, man. And I thought the strap match freaking did that. So we're 1-1, and Punk goes on Monday Night Raw, I believe, the next night, and says he's gonna move on from Drew. Right? He starts dropping a promo and he calls out Gunther, and he's eyeing up that World Heavyweight Championship. Right when he does that, Drew would attack Punk once again. Again, what we said earlier in the episode. We thought we were done.
We're right back.
And then you're like, it's so easy to say, dude, we're sick of this, but there was still money there. Triple H got his finger on the trigger there. So it would set up the rubber match, right? They're 1-1, and it's only when you have a rivalry like this, there's only one spot for it in the most satanic structure in the WWE. Hell in a Cell.
I love it.
So here we are, dude. I mean, Bad Blood 2024, 16 minutes flat at the old Peacock, that Peacock alert. Big Hard, you ready, dude?
Yeah, Nation, we're at 16 minutes at WWE Bad Blood, Hell in a Cell, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. 16 minutes is the timestamp. So whenever you're ready, hit us with a countdown.
1, 2, 3, play. Punk's here taking off the old cutoff. And yeah, dude, here we freaking go. And again,
the brutality in this match is just they don't do. I'm gonna say they don't do too much in this match. They just do what is needed, which is like just the perfect amount of violence, and it just works out great. I mean, they both get bloodied up eventually, and I think this was one of those matches where you need blood. I like the fact that WWE doesn't do blood in every single match on Monday Night Raw, on SmackDown. It's when it's actually needed. In this match, this was calling for it. And I'll tell you, Drew was bleeding buckets at the end of this.
Oh my God. And again, the Bad Blood setup with the red, the white, the black, the arena looks cool. It's sold out. The silver cell, and they even have the holes in the cell. So as a viewer from home, or if you're in the crowd there, you're like, holy shit, they might climb that later on.
They're climbing that. Yep.
It kicks off the show. The look's there. The rivalry's there. The two dudes in the ring believe it. So us at home believe it. And they build up the match with their promos that they're going to get each other with color. And it's all building into this. And again, the crowd was almost, you had to get the crowd involved a little bit. They weren't flat, but again, they were almost like, big shot by Drew. They were
Yeah.
almost like sitting there watching, just like, where are they going to go with this? But the facials, there's not a wasted move, not a wasted punch. It's a brawl. Big chop there by Drew. Punk looks jacked, and
Yeah, he does.
probably the best Punk's ever looked. And these guys want to go out there and steal the show.
Yeah, and they sure did. I mean, honestly, it's like they probably went back and were like, yeah, go ahead and follow that. And then I think it was Bailey and Nia Jax had to come out after this match. And it's like, what can you do after this?
Yeah.
But honestly, like you said, these two guys, there's no wasted moments in here. There's no wasted bumps. Everything meant something in this match. And that's how you know you have good storytelling in your match. It's not just move for move for move. It's, just the little things that they're doing in this match. And honestly, for a whole feud to be almost based around this bracelet that Punk stole, or that Drew stole from Punk. And I mean, just the dumbest thing. It's so stupid, but it meant something to Punk. And since it meant so much to Punk, I was invested in the fact that Drew's stealing this thing that he is invested in. Like, so I could try to picture something in my life that I'm invested in, or something that, I would take personally if someone stole from me. So you know what I mean? It's like you're taking part of my life from me, and I want it back.
Yeah.
And Punk's here to get that back. And I think,
and the two have so much. It screams respect for each other, and what a job, as we see a table coming out. Probably the most creative ways to utilize a table in this match.
Taking the legs off and
what a spot! Probably the most devastating table spot later on in the match.
Oh God, that was great. And one spot at the end.
Go ahead, Big Hard.
I was gonna say one spot at the end is like they got the steel steps in the ring, and Drew goes for the Claymore, misses, and nails his back off of that. I was like, oh my God, like, why would you even do that? But then it's funny because then you look at some of these other like hardcore matches, and like really the stuff that they're doing in this match isn't that crazy compared to some of these other things you see in some of these hardcore death matches and stuff like that. But like I said, I think the story is the part of this. Like there he is stepping on his head while he's pushing him against the.
And two, like, I always kind of say the best matches, you can stick a person that's never watched professional wrestling, and by the end of the match, they're like locked in.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, oh man, I might watch Raw now.
The thing about this match that they did so well, what they did, they put spots in there that would just like devastating, and they let you as a viewer register it, right? So when Drew goes off the steel steps, the camera gets right in his face, and you can just see the pain and the hurt in it, and everything they did was just, you might not know what a steel chair off the top of the face feels like, but you've hit your back on something and it really sucked. You know what that feels like.
Yeah. And them using like these wrenches is great, because honestly, if you've ever held a wrench in your hand, if you smack somebody in the head with that thing, you're going to knock them out, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like something that you're unfamiliar with. Almost everybody has held a wrench in their hand, and they know.
And you're wondering the whole time where the blade is going to come out. Like you're, it could have been there with Drew, and it's not. So that's building as well. You want to see color.
Yeah, and with Punk in a match like this, you're getting color, and Punk is great with the color, But I'll tell you, I mean, I think I was more impressed with Drew's color in this match, and I know there was conflicting reports online saying that, Punk is unsafe because of the way he did it. I'm sure that the whole thing was planned. I mean, I know maybe he got opened up a little bit more than he might have planned to, but I don't know. These guys are professionals. They know what they're doing. Yeah, like this. He takes the leg right off,
and he pulls the leg right off. I mean, that's something you've never seen.
And again, rips the leg right off the table.
And again, like when I was watching this, that's a great spot.
The edge of the table. Like I've never seen that, like a table set up like that, and you doing a drop toe hold off the table, off the side like that.
And this is when in the match you start getting synced in. Again, when I was watching it, now look at that. I mean, there's a spike there. There's a little bit of a whatever that is on the leg, and that could have went in. And
He
now it looks
he
like
could have
Punk's
put that
trying to
right
hard
through
way him.
Drew's head. That could have went right through Punk's head. That thing. Like I don't know if he really saw that piece of metal hanging there, because honestly, that was pretty brutal.
And okay, this is right at the time, and that's a gnarly spot. Again, you could believe how much that sucked.
Imagine falling on that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's
a real table.
The Phillies are in the playoff game at this point. I leave dinner early to go watch this because I heard that they might kick off the show with this. So I'm sitting here on the couch, and this is when I start sitting up because I'm like, the crowd's getting into it. Look at the spots that they're doing. These guys said, again, Punk's not like, oh, let me baby my tricep. He's like, we're going to go out there and freaking tear it down and then go away for a month because we're hurt.
Look at him about to try to plant his eye through the leg of the table. Like, it's just good stuff, man. Good stuff. Like the way they're using the table upside down. And
well, and again, these guys
have to put someone through the table to make it look good.
Yeah. Yeah. And these guys knew, I mean, we're going to go out there and do Hell in a Cell. We have to deliver. We have to not make we have to go above and beyond with the brutality. God damn
it. I love it.
Real quick, what'd you think of the Vince documentary?
You know what? It was pretty good. I mean,
us as wrestling fans, we knew about all. Yeah,
a lot of the stuff I knew about already as a wrestling fan because just following it my whole life.
Big
man,
Claymore.
what a Claymore on the outside!
That's a great finish.
But I do think it was produced very well. It had me sucked in. I'm telling you, like I watched, I think 3 episodes the first night, and then I think I watched like 2 the second and hit the last one only because I was falling asleep the second night.
Yeah, you're old as fuck.
And it wasn't because I was bored. It was just because I'm old and, you know, that's pretty much all it was. But I thought it was a pretty good documentary.
Yeah, Netflix does not miss a story, just like they're trying to get some video out there right now.
Yeah, well, I'll watch that one too. I mean, it'll be good. They do a good job. And like I said, all the stuff that Vince did, it's completely despicable and horrible, you know, and some of the stuff I was kind of like, you know, I forgot about some of these things, and it's like, wow, man, he had more lawsuits
there.
Oh my God, he had more lawsuits going on back in like the Attitude Era and stuff like that. And then they were showing some of the stuff like that he was putting himself in with some of the women on TV, and it's just like, oh man, like I almost forgot about some of that stuff. And then with the stuff coming out these days, it's like, man, that stuff has probably been going on for
What a spot.
He's gushing.
I mean, there's no way for
and Drew's looking at him and just like cocking his head to the side, kind of like he's just like I love this. Look at him. He's busted open.
Again, we don't see this much. And I mean, the last time from this we saw color was Rock and Cody in the parking lot. And now look at Punk. I mean, he is Moxley bladed. Big and Punk just lets him.
He didn't put a hand up or anything. That was all steel stairs.
Old school wrestling.
You have trust in the guy you're working with.
And you want it to look as good as possible.
And Drew, as much as you know, we all know it's a work. All right. So they obviously have a lot of respect for each other because you don't just put your body out there like this for somebody.
This is nasty stuff. Oh, big,
you know. And I don't care how you fake that. Your face is against a steel stair, and then you're getting stomped on. I don't care if you don't put all that into that stomp. Come on, man. That's gotta hurt. That's gotta be Kane.
And I think this match more than anything shut up any Punk. People that hate Punk. There are people when Punk got hurt that were like celebrating it. I don't understand that.
I know. Well,
but they can shut their mouths after this shit.
It's mostly just marks, you know what I mean? And it's because he has this bad perception about him for the people that they like. And I get it. Hey, you know, but oh my God.
Satan himself. If I could
he looks like Satan right there.
If I can flash back real quick to the Vince thing, I came away thinking a couple things. Number one, Hulk Hogan's the greatest of all time.
The greatest, like, worker. I can't believe he still to this day is telling the stupid Andre story as if like He didn't know he was getting that belt that night. He didn't know he was winning. Come on. Like,
there you see the TV under the ring. I remember texting you, like, TV under the ring? Who's popping out?
yeah, who did pop out from underneath? Then I think Jimmy came out that night.
Jimmy.
Didn't Jimmy
You're
came
right.
back that night. So he's probably under there watching the TV, so he knows when to come out.
Maybe not yet, but they're eventually gonna
Because why else would there
black
be a TV?
sweatshirt with the hood on. Get him out there.
Like why else
Now
is
we got
there a
the table
TV
set up
under
for
the
later
freaking
on?
ring? Later
Okay.
on in the match.
God damn it. Hogan, biggest star in wrestling of all time. It's undisputable. At this point,
I mean, when I was a kid, I loved Hogan, and I still respect him to this day. He's been through a lot of controversy in his life, but when he talks, sometimes he talks as if he was like the creator of everything. Like he still talks that he he'll take credit for anybody's popularity. Like
I did like when he was on Logan
I told him to
Paul's
do
podcast,
this.
and he goes, I had creative control, but I never used it.
That makes a lot of sense.
But no, I mean, who did more in wrestling than Hogan? I mean, the guy was in Vince's senior, and then he went and started wrestling the AWA in Japan, I believe. Then he came back and took over the WWF with Vince and booked the shows with Vince. I mean, you sold out everything with Hulkamania. He main evented like the first 100 WrestleManias.
I like how, though, it came out that basically Hogan in WWE in his early years, that was all Vince telling him what to say. All of his promos were all Vince. Yeah. He didn't get to really speak for himself until he went to WCW. Like he said he had fun with that because he was actually talking himself. I mean, that's all Vince behind him. And Vince
then he goes over and creates the NWO and takes over the world again.
Yeah. I mean, I think he still takes, I think he even takes credit for like Sting's success. He takes credit for like everything. It's funny, but I just still find it funny about that whole Hogan Andre match, how he's in any interview, he is like the first one to say that. Or doesn't he say like, yeah, I was the bassist for this band, or, like I was the bassist for Limp Bizkit, and that's why they're popular.
Kate's new favorite band, Limp freaking Bizkit. She's driving to work to her cosmetic job. Break stuff.
Oh, it's great.
I love it.
Just look up iTunes, look up Limp Bizkit, and just play like their first 8 songs that come on. It's just great. You'll have a good car ride. Trust me. Wherever you're going, you'll be happy when you get there. Oh man, what a good suplex.
And now Punk's kind of coming back, but still struggling in a big spot. I mean, he very easily could have hurt himself on that table. Again, we don't give a fuck. We're just going out there and stealing it. Number 2 on the Vince thing, and I'll get off the horn about this. Shane's going to AEW.
I mean,
100%.
I honestly think he should have already been in. I think this whole new Moxley storyline, I think he could be behind it. But now if he comes out, like it's already kind of gone on too long.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Look, you know what I think's happening? I honestly think Shane, if anyone's going to change AEW, it's going to be a McMahon. And Shane wants to book. He wants the pencil. And I think he's going to get the opportunity there with AEW. I think what's going on right now is, and here's the big spot with the toolbox. Real quick, Big Hard, before we get Drew's blood, I think WWE's in Shane's ear right now saying, like, look, you're not going to get the pencil, but we'll work you in. We don't want you going there. You're a McMahon. We don't want that. I think he's in negotiations with the WWE and Nick Khan right now. I think that's what's holding it up.
See,
I think that Moxley storyline was to bring Shane in, and I think it's halted right now.
Yeah, but if they bring him in that storyline, then I think he's just going to be kind of on screen. Oh my God, Drew is completely
look at Drew.
Open.
Holy shit!
It's Miller time over there already.
That's a LaCroix, the Soft Studios here. It's okay to be soft there, Big Heart. Someone's got to be.
Yeah, hey, sometimes anyway.
The strut dad.
Yeah, I do like the whole Moxley thing, and Full Gear is the end of this month, and it's close by, and we were thinking about going. I'm kind of glad we're not.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that we're not because, I mean, the main event is going to be Moxley versus Orange Cassidy. All right, I get it. They're trying to make Orange Cassidy something, but I don't for 1 second believe that Orange Cassidy is going to beat Jon Moxley.
Whatever.
I don't for 1 second think that Darby Allin will beat John Moxley.
I
Like,
like
come
Darby.
on.
But look, the point, the meat and potatoes of it all, they're selling 2,000 tickets. Okay, they got to change. Sorry.
I mean, they'll sell more for the full gear. They do sell good for pay-per-views, but I mean, every show that we went to, like Dynamites, we always leave before Rampage starts because honestly, it's like, all right, I already saw Dynamite and Dynamite wasn't that great, so I'm just gonna leave. But I always see in like comments that people that stay for Rampage, like you might be up in the 100 section for Dynamite, but once Rampage starts, they're bringing you down to like ringside seats, which wouldn't be bad. Maybe one day we'll go and we'll actually stick around, but we would probably have to cut out our parking lot party because by the time 10 o'clock hits, man, I'm ready to rock and roll and get the heck home. So the parking lot party would have to get halted. It's pretty bad when you're putting as many Steve Weisers down as we did before Raw even starts. So, but that was a great show though. It was good. Just being there in the arena when Jey Uso comes out is amazing. I mean, he is on fire now. But yeah, right here, Drew's on the ground outside, just bloodied up. Like you said earlier about that table spot.
Punk loves to deliver the go to sleep with his opponent, falling out of the ring and him climbing. That's a great spot. Yeah. But yeah, now you get reminded, big Claymore.
Oh, big Claymore. I almost thought this was it when I was watching it because honestly, it's a Claymore right in the middle of the ring. At this point, the match has already been good. They really don't have to. Yeah, they don't have to do much more after this. Like they've already.
The crowd's there. The fans are biting at every pinfall. Of course, the ref with the gloves on. I don't know how I feel about that. It's a little.
Well, he doesn't want to get any blood on him.
It's a little soft. It's just it is what it is.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's like me at work when I'm getting my poo samples. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm just setting up the sharpshooter later on in the match, but that's
for later on.
And you love Michael.
I think he does hit the. I think he does hit a sharpshooter.
There is a sharpshooter coming. That's true.
Yeah.
Good call there, Big Heart.
He puts the wrench down because he sees a chance for another Claymore. Oh, and he misses, and here comes the sharpshooter.
Get it on.
And he's trying to get those big Scottish legs around him.
And look, he kind of messes it up, and they got to go with it like,
oh God. And that's they've been in here for 15 minutes killing each other at this point. So
it's all right. Look at the sell job by Drew. He's gonna AKA.
Drew's like 6'5". You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to put a sharpshooter. Stone Cold and Bret Hart. Yep, favorite match of all time. Stone Cold, Bret Hart.
Tell me that Punk didn't call Bret and said, "This is what we're thinking. Are you okay with this?" And Bret said, "Fuck yeah."
He said, "As long as Goldberg's not in the match." And the escape out of it's good. He's nailing him in the back with the wrench, so it's like it's believable. I mean, someone hits me in the back with a wrench, I'm probably gonna let go of the sharpshooter. And now he's digging into his head. Punk's probably like, "Come on, bust me open a little bit more."
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
The blood's drying up.
We're gonna go right to Waffle House after this. That's what they're saying.
Oh, I can go for some Waffle House right now. I'm getting hungry.
You still have that table on the outside. You're wondering how the hell, what spot could they do?
Look at the ref coming over. At that.
Yeah, the ref off.
Drew's like,
and Drew,
he's like, get off me.
Shit out of here.
Yeah, I want this blood on me right now. This is like my badge of honor at this point.
That's some good realism, though. I mean, I don't know what that was about, but Drew definitely. Now look at Drew. He's like, get me another blade, actually.
Yeah, look at the top of his head. I mean, I think he had 16 staples put in after this.
Right.
And Punk's just looking at him like
Meltzer, you might have to have a couple staples. Now it's coming down to Nux.
And I don't know if I want to go knuck to knuck with
Drew
Mack. Yeah. It's a big dude right there. The
Punk's
chosen one.
Guy. Punk's like 6'2", 6'3".
He is a big guy, and he looks small compared to Drew. You know what I mean?
Drew's a monster.
Oh,
here's where it all started.
Going for the future sock.
Now we're going to go to sleep again. Reversal. Big chop.
Big chop.
Go into the corner.
He's caving in his chest, man.
I mean, they're just tearing it up. Nice kick. Nice spin kick.
Yeah, Punk's good with those kicks. I always like that. Does a good job with that. Go both men down, selling a little bit here. They need a little breather. You know what I mean? They've been going at it for a while now.
What a match! I was thinking of this the other day, and I was like, "That's an episode."
Yeah, and I haven't watched this match since this night, and it's actually still even just it was a little over a month ago.
That's what kicked off me wanting to do this. I was gonna watch it, and I was like, "No, let's save it." I haven't watched it since the live either, and now they're gonna set up. They're in the corner, and you're like, "What the hell?" Big knee.
Oh, I like that
signature move.
Yep, that's a Punk signature right there.
And look at this.
Trying to muscle him over the top with a suplex.
Talk about respect for each other. Okay, we're gonna do this. Look at this. Look at Drew.
God.
Oh my God! Have you ever?
No, that was sick.
Table spot.
No, that was sick. That was perfect. And honestly, as a fan, like that table was set up way earlier in the match, so
you forgot about it.
And the camera angle, you don't see the table.
Right.
You don't see the table until they're going through it. Look at the replay. You don't see the table until they're just about going through it.
Oh, and that could have went wrong so many ways.
You already think this is going to be a nasty spot just onto the floor, but now you're going to do it through a table. And I mean, that was just awesome, dude. I mean, I would love to go through a table like that.
Well, somebody stop the damn match. I like doing that when it's like
some
not a
wuss
good
move.
match at all.
Yeah.
We're at 3WA.
The softies favorite is asking Carlucci what size his dickies are.
Well, they're in hometown in November.
We're
going?
Were one of you guys going or asking what size these dickies are? I was like, yeah, that was him right here. Or that one show when you kept telling the ref, hey ref, take your shirt off.
TNA.
That was good. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
There's a show tonight in Slanington.
PPW. I saw that.
I just got an email. I just saw an email this morning come through, and I was like, "Oh crap! I totally forgot."
Yeah. Are we going?
It's quite possible. I don't know. I don't know what I got going on tonight. Got a big day tomorrow, so.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, dude.
Yeah.
I'll bring the Steve one. I already told Kate she's driving home.
Well, yeah, she might have to. I'm gonna try not to drink too much. I've been going hard the past week.
You gotta be good. Drew is selling the fact that he just, these guys are exhausted.
His back hurts. He just put Punk through the table.
Are we going this month? I think we should.
I think we should. I think we almost need to. We haven't been there in a while.
And Chris,
a couple new people there, I think.
Yeah, they put on good shows. It's so fun there at the.
I love. I think it's my favorite wrestling venue, besides ECW Arena.
And okay, let's talk about NXT. But before we do, as we're getting to the conclusion of this, two guys that we've seen at 3WA. We don't know them very well, but Trace Parker and Tom Mitchell are wrestlers kind of at the local circuit as far as the shows we go to. They debuted at ROH for AEW.
Was that recently or was that a while ago?
I think it was just a couple of days ago.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that is pretty cool because we've had conversations with Tom Mitchell in the parking lot. Just hanging out after the show.
This. I'm not saying I'm hog watching, but they both look pretty jacked up. So good for them.
Well, hog watching is my favorite thing to do at wrestling shows. I don't care who you are. If you're not hog watching, I don't know what you're there for.
NXT at the 2300, and all I could say was, I'm so mad I'm not there.
Awesome. I know. The setup looked great. They kind of looked almost the same setup that they usually have when we're there, but the production value is like times 10 from, seeing BCW or even TNA. I mean, they're a big company, and the production value difference between the two is just top notch. Having the announcers table there too, it would have been awesome to be there because no matter where you're, oh my God, dude, that was.
And these guys, you think after that table spot, you're like,
yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Go home.
No. Yeah, almost they're like, hey, let's take that spot out of there. No, if you're not watching along with us, Hard and Soft Nation, I really hope you are, or take our commentary for what it is. this was I forget what they call that move. Sheamus does it a lot. It's
the fella.
Yeah, maybe it was the fella. Hey, fella. But that was nasty on those stairs, and now those stairs are going to come into play. And look at, I thought Drew was about to do a kip up for some reason. I was like, come on. After everything you've been through, you're going to do a kip up. Get out of here.
HBK's kick up's the best. Drew's number 2, for sure.
Yeah.
I'll say this.
Have you seen mine?
The only thing with with NXT, it was a Wednesday, so it's a little dicey with work. And then, but if I would have known Trump goes over 1, 2, 3 clean in the middle so decisively, I would have went to NXT because I thought if he doesn't, if she goes over, it might be a little dicey in Philly, but it wasn't.
No, and honestly, it was.
Look at that spot right into the
Anaconda Vice.
The Anaconda Vice. I almost called every submission I see. I want to call it the Kaja Hajime.
And I really like how Jordan Grace is in NXT now. And I remember we saw her years ago, and her physique nowadays is like, holy crap! Like she went on a fitness thing because she is jacked, dude. Like she, like none other. I mean, we've seen a lot of people at that ECW arena that, before they got on TV, we saw Britt Baker there.
Yeah, I remember that.
A couple of years before she got to AEW. We saw a lot of people at that arena before they made it big. Swerve. And Swerve had a match, I think, with
Willie Mack.
Which
and they
was
went
amazing.
A damn hour.
Yeah, we saw not Rich. Well, we've seen Rich Swann a bunch of times, but we've seen Ethan Page, All Ego. Seen him before he got big.
And shout out to SVW. They had a lot of the NXT folks stop by their shop.
Yeah, the Orlando shop. They had a lot of NXT guys come too because NXT's over there in Orlando. I'd love to be able to get to that shop, but I don't know if I'll ever make it to Orlando. We'll see. You never know.
If Mania goes there, then we have a reason. Drew's still pouring buckets, dude.
Big low blow.
A la Eddie Guerrero.
Would you take a low blow from Drew McIntyre?
Yeah.
Nice.
And
I think
I'd take a Claymore and sell the fuck out of it.
I think this is coming up to the spot where he's going to do this Claymore. Oh, no. At this point, I was like, oh, man, the tax. It's the tax.
I know, dude. I'm laughing on my couch alone right now. And I always think of good old jolly old Saint Mick. We got to get to the tax.
Yeah, we got to get to the tax.
Now,
I like how he gets to the back too. He's like, sorry, I forgot the tax spot. They're like, dude, you got tax sticking out of you. This is great.
His whole right eyebrow is taxed. Now, I like this. Again, it's heat and all. What I would have loved is,
he spits him out.
What I would have loved if at the conclusion of the match, Punk to go get actual tax. I would have thought that was great.
Oh,
but
this is
insane.
Look at this. Oh my God. He nails his back on the court. Look at the ref. The ref's gloves are ripped at this point anyway. What an idiot. He's sitting there making sure, like, are you good? Because
what size dickies you wearing there, Lucci? That's what I'd be saying right now.
And this is great right here. I didn't even think of this spot. He's wrapping the chain around his knee for the GTS. This is good. And this could have went bad too. I mean,
if it falls
that chain could have just kept falling off, but he did have a little clip there, so he clipped it on.
Who gives a shit?
That was an insane Claymore. I'm sure Drew was hurting after that. If he goes to Planet Fitness, I'm sure he was on the Hydra massage chair.
Have we seen Drew since this?
No, I think he's been gone. I think he has some stuff going on in his life. But honestly, he should be written off.
Or Drew after this.
I love this too. He takes a handful of the beads and shoves them in his mouth. It's just good story, man. Even though the beads, they're not going to hurt. It is what it is, but it's just nails him with a mouthful of those freaking beads. Chain on his knee.
Oh,
and gets the 1, 2, 3. I mean, What
What
a
a
great
match.
freaking match, dude. What a great match to start off a show. Like, you're almost like, I could just go home after this. Like,
Yeah. And
except you have Roman Reigns main eventing, so you can't. But
again, you have the respect for the guys that just went out there and gave it their all.
yeah, I mean, these two, they gave it everything they have. And honestly, I don't know what Hell in a Cell match recently has been better than that. I mean, the first ever Hell in a Cell, check out the archives, Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, just great. And the storytelling in that match was amazing. But this match, it didn't go outside the cage. It stayed inside. They used everything possible. I mean, look at the ring. It's just a freaking bloodbath. It's a mess. They have everything out here.
Are you trying to get the softy into a Mount Rushmore of Hell in a Cells? You know, I love my Mount Rushmores.
No, I don't think we need to get into all that.
What a spot from the table. What a rivalry.
Oh, God.
What a Hell in a Cell match. What an episode of the Hard and Soft Pro Wrestling Podcast. Big Hard, take us home, brother. What else you got, dude? What a match. Good Lord.
I mean, yeah, this was just great. It's great getting back in the booth here, doing some episodes. We got to keep doing these. We fell off for a little bit, only because just life throws things at you. You got busy schedules. And, Nation, don't worry. We didn't forget about you, because I've been thinking about you every single day. But, I mean, I have one thing to add to this whole entire episode today.
What is it, Big Hard?
If you're not hard, you're soft.
Okay, now I'm going to go Blade in the bathroom. It's okay to be soft.
You're damn right.